the health benefits of Fukamushi Sencha. Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea, and today we're gonna talk about the health benefits of Fukamushi Sencha. So as some of you might know, I'm a huge fan of Fukamushi Sencha, so a so-called deep steamed sencha, and this sencha actually has a magic portion because it is considered that it is slightly more healthy than a normal or a casual sencha. So when we talk about Fukamushi or so-called deep steamed sencha, what do we talk about? We talk about this tea which is short after the harvest, steamed, and normally you talk about futsumushi or chumushi or asamushi, and these steeping methods are quite short, so we talk here from 30 to around 60 seconds maximum. But when we talk about a longer steeping, so-called Fukamushi or deep steaming, then we talk about 120 seconds. And how actually did this steeping method or this steaming method for the green tea evolve? After the Second World War, the tea association had a small problem because they needed to sell more green tea in Japan itself, and as Shizuoka was one of the biggest regions producing tea, they were not meeting the standard, the typical type of taste of the Japanese people. So what they were producing was a little bit too bitter for the consumer there. But finally, what they found out is by a deeper steaming process, what they are able to do is actually they can lower the astringency. And what happens exactly when the Fukamushi is produced or this longer steaming is applied, there the tea, the suppression of the tea particles, especially the catechins which are responsible for the bitter taste, they are suppressed, and there comes more of a full-bodied, round, and also sweeter tea. So it was the possibility that they could make out of a normal sencha actually a very, very sweet, round, and full-bodied sencha, just by applying the double of time for the steaming of the tea in the production. And what does it give actually is that the tea leaves of the Fukamushi, they're a little bit smaller, so I just brought here 5 grams which I prepared here. So you can see that, okay, I bring on a little bit more light so you can see it very well. So you can see that these are quite small leaves which are quite brittle, and this happens actually when the steaming is applied. So we are talking here a little bit of finer tea, of a little bit finer tea leaves, which then are much faster to brew, easier to brew, and they are, due to the fact that you don't need to steep them so long, you have less bitterness in the tea, so there are more or less bitter particle also entering the tea. Then what was said the other day is actually when there was a program, so a public Japanese TV program called NHK. They were doing a research, and in Kakegawa, which is a city in Shizuoka, they found out that in this city, and this is also a city where a big production of Fukamushi is done, and the people regularly also consume or drink Fukamushi, there they found out that this city has a lower cancer rate, a much lower cancer rate, and also they have around 20% less of expenses in medical treatment for the people living in Kakegawa. And this, they said, also one of the reasons is actually that the people are drinking a lot of green tea, especially Fukamushi. And since then, Fukamushi has quite a good reputation concerning health benefits, and that it is considered as a little bit as the better sencha. And also the reason why actually it is considered to be a very good tea is that the fact that often the tea which is used for Fukamushi, especially in the region of Shizuoka, in the region of Kagoshima, where you have broad fields, wide fields, and in these fields actually what the plant is going through is through a long and quite a sustainable sun or light exposure. So to have also a better yield, they have to expose the plants or the fields to more light, to more sunlight, and due to the more sunlight, also more catechins are produced. And when you leave the Sencha just like this, it actually becomes quite a bitter tea. So you have a tea which has quite a lot of bitter particles, or a bigger amount of bitter particles in the leaves, and that's why actually these teas are finally more bitter. But thanks to the Fukamushi steaming method, they can bring down the bitterness of the tea while the tea is still very, very rich in this particle. So finally, you have actually a bitter tea which is not bitter. And this is the amazing kind of process of the Fukamushi. And finally, this then makes this tea a very, very special tea. And I will show you later also another thing is very, very special about the Fukamushi. But today what I brought with me is one from the south. So here we talked about the region of Kagoshima, the region of Kyushu. And this tea here is actually also shaded. So a little bit is shaded. So it's not only plain in the field, it's a little bit shaded, but it is a very wonderful Fukamushi to drink because it has a nice grassiness, a nice sweetness, and it shows this beautiful color. But let's dive into this. For this I brought my Kyushu, and I just used these 5 grams which I prepared here, and I'm just gonna add around 150 milliliters of water. And now I'm gonna put the lid on. And what is nice about the Fukamushi is that it has such a short steeping time. And I just need the glass. Today I brought an easy glass. Also, as I'm on the way, I'm not at home, I have a little bit more of a simpler tea set with me, so only the Kyushu, and I don't have my small plate, so I had this small sheet of paper, and now I can already pour this tea. And you can see the color is amazingly beautiful green, and this is very, very typical for a Fukamushi. So due to the fact that you have the smaller particles, the smaller leaves, you have automatically also a more greener color. You see it beautiful, especially in the contrast with the white. So you can see that this tea is just an intense, very beautiful, beautiful green color. And this is actually what's happening. And what you can see at the bottom, and this is an important part as well of the Fukamushi, it does, due to the small leaf, have also more sediments, and you're drinking these sediments, and this gives you a little bit of an extra kick. It's a little bit of a grassy note in the end. So the matcha drinkers of you, or some people of you, you might love matcha, you might love this last sip of the cup of the Fukamushi, because it will remind you a little bit of that. But now let's go into the taste. So I brewed it with around 60-degree water, so 140 Fahrenheit. Here I have a nice, beautiful, sweet corn, quite a good umami flavor. So a little bit this savory sweetness, a little bit of artichoke, and the slight zucchini note. Good, so let's try this. It's actually pretty funny, and the longer I drink and the more I drink Fukamushi, the more I get kind of aware. It is actually, you're expecting a bitterness of the tea, but you're not getting this because it's kind of like blocked, but you have a small tingling on the top of the tongue, which is quite interesting with the Fukamushi itself, because you have this kind of refreshing aroma, but it never turns into this bitterness, it never goes into bitterness, and that's what I personally like a lot about the Fukamushi, because you really can enjoy a beautiful, sweet, round, full-bodied tea with a hint of refreshing note, but it never turns into this typical bitterness which you might expect from a normal sencha, which is also used, or let's say a classical sencha, basic sencha. These are teas, they are often drift off a little bit too much into the bitterness. This one here, just very well done in the longer steaming process, and then not turning into this bitter note. I have a nice grass, I have a little bit of sweetness, I have a small flowery note with it, and then I have this small tingling on the top of the tongue, giving a little bit of a zesty, refreshing note, but never turning into this bitterness. It stays very, very smooth. There's even a little cereally note with the tea as well, but it's like this. I'm nearly getting a little bit of a oolong note, like a little bit this flowery, nearly slight soapy note, but dominant is a sweet, a little bit savoriness, but mostly flowery note. These are the main components, and then I get a little bit this slight soapiness and a little bit this tingling on the top of the tongue. And the cereally note is really weak. And now, in the end, I got much more grassiness due to the fact that I just drank the sediments, and they are just giving a small kick of grassy flavor to the tea itself. And then you can brew this tea easily 2 at least 3 times, and you can even maybe go up to 4 or 5. And you see now in the second brewing it even gets more intense. This green really gets strong. So second brewing is actually the best Fukamushi brewing. And you see again at the bottom, you see the sediments, they just go to the bottom. And this is just a beautiful green tea. Good. You can just see this tea is just pure green, and the sediments just very beautiful at the bottom. So this was this. I hope you liked it. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you ever have a question, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer them, and I wish you a good night, a good day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.